Hello and welcome back to Pod Popper's Place and another Kendra's Card Challenge. This time we're featuring our super sponsor Polkadoodles. Polkadoodles has digital stamps which allows you to resize the stamp to whatever size you want. Also, you can flip them and turn them a different direction and put them so close to each other they look like they're one digital design. They also have these wonderful ready-to-print sheets that have a whole bunch of sentiments on it and some fun little tags as well. For my card today, I'll be using sketch number 7 from Kendra's Card Challenge and the Bella Bear gift parcel digital stamp from Polkadoodles, as well as some of their sentiments. Polkadoodles also features digital papers, and so I have downloaded several different styles of the Christmas ones and printed those out and cut those for the design. After coloring and cutting the DigiStamp, I also decided to use just the berry portion of the sentiment because the sentiment had cut off too close and I didn't like how close the word was to the end, and so I used it on top of a very Merry Christmas tag and just put the berry over the Merry. And I did have to print this a couple times because my printer was printing some black spots where I guess maybe it needs to be cleaned, but I will fix that a little bit later. And then I just put it on some foam adhesive tape and plopped it over the Merry on the tag. And I had a die cut on hand that just cut that out perfectly. So I was really happy with how that turned out. For my background, I found some cardstock that matched kind of the blue-green in the color of my packaging. And I wanted to use this dot stencil to kind of mimic some of the dots in the patterned paper. And I didn't want to give harsh lines on these dots. I just wanted to go really gently because I just wanted to have it kind of the feeling of snow falling in the background. Once I had the background completely covered with my faux snowfall, I wanted to use the snowflake stencil as well and use some shimmery glimmer paste that has lots of sparkle in it. And I really love it for snowflakes because it just shines so brightly and it kind of picks up the color of the paper because it doesn't really have much color to it at all. And I spread it across half of it, and I was really careful not to get it to the very edge because then I would have these like half snowflakes on there and I wanted full snowflakes. And so I was really careful to avoid those fine full edges there. And then once I pulled this off, I had to let it completely dry, and I thought I was going to cover the rest of the panel, but I didn't want to have any layovers of the other snowflakes, so I decided to just leave half. And I kind of like that I did because I now have this kind of diagonal line to put my papers on, and so I'm using that kind of diagonal line of my snowflakes to put the diagonal strips of paper on, and I'm trying to lay them out the way the sketch has them laid out. And I wanted to get them nice and evenly spaced, and so I had thought I would try to use a ruler after I got my center one down to kind of figure out where the other ones should go. And I ended up going ahead and cut a strip of paper that was about the width apart that I wanted them to be. And this actually worked really well after I had my center one glued down because I could just put it in between each of the strips and line it up, and it would give me the same diagonal as the first strip and also give me an even spacing for all the different strips of paper. I just used liquid glue to put the strips of paper down, but I did have to use quite a bit of glue on the strips of paper that went over my snowflakes because that was thick, and so it wasn't able to touch the paper completely as it went down. And then I just laid some a clear block on top of it and let it completely dry before I was able to cut all the edges off and get a nice clean finished look. Before I glued down my sentiment and my little bear in the box, I decided that I wanted to add a little something to the sentiment and tag there. And so I got out the die that I used to cut it with and placed it back over that, and used just a glitter pen just to add a little bit of edge detailing. Pretty subtle, but I liked the extra sparkle that it gave it and was just not quite so plain. And then, like I said, this is a slimline card, so I'm just creating a base and gluing that on. But I decided not to glue it on because it's such a big piece. I didn't want all that heavy glue on there, so I decided to use double stick tape instead for the background, just so I wouldn't have to worry about so much warping with such a big area. I do use liquid glue to glue the sentiment and the bear down. And then I wanted to hide the little black dots that my printer left behind on the sentiment tag. So I decided to get out some embellishments and add a few of those. And these are kind of white shimmery, and so they don't show up a whole bunch. And I used a few more than I had planned, and I wasn't super happy with the placement when I got done with it. So I decided to add a few silver ones as well. And the silver ones are super, super tiny, which I liked. So it added just a little bit of sparkle and kind of broke up the placement of the white ones a little bit. The final touches I added to my card were some glossy accents to the berries on the digital stamp and also to the little bear's nose. And then I also added some white gel pen accents on it as well. Please check out Polka Doodles online so you can get your own digital downloads and get right to work on some cards for Christmas. And please check out Kendra's Card Challenge number 12. It is a fantastic challenge, and all the details will be in the description box below, as well as check out all the other contributors in this hop. Thanks so much for stopping by.